So we've talked about permissions, scopes, and permission types. Now let's tie this into access tokens. After your application has requested permission and a user or administrator has consented, the application can contain what's called an access token from the Microsoft Identity Platform. And we saw this a little bit earlier in the module. Now, the story I walked you through was that of a movie ticket. You can think of the access token as being similar to a movie ticket that you can give to an attendant to prove that you paid to see the movie. Your application gives an access token to Microsoft Graph to prove that it has permission to access Microsoft 365 data. Now, in order to call a Microsoft Graph API, we need an authorization header for the Microsoft Graph request. That looks something like this. We're going to have, in this case, a GET request to /me. That would get the signed in user's user profile. The host is going to be graph.microsoft.com. But notice we have an authorization header. Now, the authorization header is required because it has an access token that's going to be sent with every HTTP request. It's passed in this authorization header that you see here for each request, and the word bearer has to be there. So the EW that you see right next to bearer, that's the start of the access token, and that's going to have our permission scopes that we need defined so that if we call /me, user.read would have to be defined. If we're calling into a calendar, then we need a calendar permission scope to be defined. Now, it's really important to note that, like a movie ticket, the bearer can use the access token. That is, anyone who has the ticket can get in without proving their identity. Now, for this reason, Microsoft Graph requires HTTPS encryption on all requests. Also, like movie tickets, access tokens are valid for only a short period, typically 1 hour. With a movie ticket, generally, if it's for a specific date, obviously you have to use it on that date or it's invalid. The same type of thing happens with an access token that we'll be using to call into a Microsoft Graph API. So now that we've talked about permissions, scopes, permission types, as well as access tokens and the authorization header, let's switch our focus now to registering an application with Azure Active Directory.